Hello, StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This is a game between NightCloNe and Aegis on Dusk Towers. This is a GM level replays that I found on ggtracker.com. It's a good place to find replays from high-level players if you're interested in that kind of thing. And let's get right on into it. In the bottom side of Dusk Towers, we have the red Terran player. It is NightCloNe, representing a penguin. And on the top side of Dusk Towers, we have the blue Terran player. It is Aegis from Miraculous Gaming. All right, seen some of these guys recently popping up on the channel. Miraculous Gaming, not a bad organization. They have all these GM guys popping stuff onto ggtracker.com. No siree, Bob. All right, looks like our timings here are going to be fairly similar. Yeah, it looks like the barracks for NightCloNe is just a little bit late compared to Aegis here. Again, they are both GM level, so I don't expect to see anything too difficult. Too different in these early beginnings. TVT is kind of just a mirror. I mean, it is a mirror matchup, but I mean, you do the same thing when matchup against a Terran player when you're a Terran player yourself, at least at the beginning. We have seen some players try to go mech in this matchup and do fairly well with it. 3 workers on the gas there, and 1 worker on the gas here, so that's our biggest difference. Okay, 2. Now it's 3. Alright, so it looks like NightCloNe is doing the same thing as Aegis, just doing it a little bit slower. A little bit more slowly. But that's okay. You can make up for that with good decision making and maybe some harassment down the road. This SCV really wants to get inside. I like the scout. I love the scout at all levels of StarCraft 2 from Aegis. There it is. In production, we do have a Reaper. A Reaper. Hold on. Alright, we're back. We have the list of names up and ready to go as both player. At least there's a Reaper there and a Marine here. Okay, so there's looks like we need to name 1 Reaper here in the early game, and his name... Let's see if we can take a look at the list here. Who do we have? Who do we have? Let's go with Turing, after Alan Turing, who's one of the more influential, brilliant minds of the 20th century. Was really big into code breaking back in World War II, and look at this! Oh, Alan. Alan gets a free SCV kill. No scouting for you whatsoever, Mr. NightCloNe SCV. So here comes the Reaper from Aegis, whose name is Alan Turing. Going to go ahead and see what he can do against the Terran player. The problem is, there should be some Marines out by now. There might even possibly be, well, I was going to say a tank, but nah, a little bit too early for a tank. My timing seems a little bit questionable right now. Regardless, Reaper pumping on out, trying to see what it can see, and right up the ramp, gonna get a Marine kill, possibly. KD8 charge there. Can still hop up here, right? Like, that wall off doesn't necessarily prevent anything. Yeah, exactly. Pop up, KD8 charge. Whoop! 3 Marines, though, and knocking 1 away. Get healed up by those combat drugs, and you should be just fine, Alan. Don't worry about it. Both players are expanding. That one's finishing. This one is done first, though, so NightCloNe gets something done first for the first time in this game. Marines being used to great effect to ward off Alan Turing at this point. And Starport on the way. And I didn't watch the movie with, I think it was Benedict Cumberbatch. Oh, Alan. Alan, you gotta have better micro than that. But I guess there was a movie about Alan Turing's life. And yes, a super brilliant guy, really important in the war effort for the United States or England during World War II. I don't remember. I'm so embarrassed by this. But, and then it turned out that he is also a homosexual, and so he was persecuted, and, like, really bad stuff happened to him because of that. And so he is also an icon within the gay community, which is pretty cool. So kind of a 1-2 punch there. Didn't have the greatest life, but if you can actually kind of be an inspiration to people who are similar to you that come along down the road, that is a pretty good way to go. Medevac coming out, and a Widow Mine. So it's going to be a Marine Widow Mine Medevac drop. Possibly the natural could do some damage there, possibly up here too. I just don't know. What does Aegis have right now? Aegis has 3 Marines, and that's it. Wow. So, nope. Wait. Yeah. So Aegis has 5 Marines and 30 workers versus 11 Marines and 31 workers and a Widow Mine for NightCloNe. So NightCloNe looking good, man. NightCloNe is not actually falling apart here. Like I said, you can make up that ground with some good decision making, good harassment, exactly what NightCloNe is going for at this point. He's not even down in workers, really. No, he's up. He's up 2-1. So, or 33 to 31. I saw 2 on the discrepancy, and my brain did weird stuff. So here comes the Cyclone, trying to mix it up, trying to get up on here, get up inside this base, maybe kill some things. But I mean, killing a supply depot is not bad. Ah, going after the reactor. That is the target. And does do 500 damage, right? 400 damage. Tank getting some shots off there as the repair cyclone is forced to retreat. Medevac just hanging out, not quite sure what he wants to do. Viking ready for a drop on this side, but no such thing over here except for the tank and the Marines. So they have some ground forces waiting, but nothing in the air as we have on the other side of the main base. So here comes the Medevac trying to move its way on up here to see what it can see. Possibly do some damage, but man, that tank is just so damaging. Yeah, I was going to say, NightCloNe sees that, decides to back right the heck on out. Cyclone goes home after getting no kills either. Who's going to take their third base first? It looks like NightCloNe has a one ready to go. And does Aegis have one ready to go? Nope, definitely not. All right. So it looks like NightCloNe keeping up there on that macro. Has a pretty darn good-sized army as well. Has a Viking, has a tank, has 15 Marines. Couple tanks. Oh, now 2 tanks per player. Right now, that Cyclone is a bit of a difference from Aegis. And going to drop in the main. I don't see why not. Yeah, I guess there is a single tank here, which you have to worry about. But there's the unload. Doesn't have stim yet. So you're going to have to walk up there, take tank fire, burrow, widow mine, pick up and run. Good call. Good call. Too many Marines, too much of a tank there. No stim available. If there was stim, I feel like that attack would have done a little bit better. As NightCloNe lands his third base, tanks moving out with Marines to cover this gigantic ramp that is so hard to defend. But with tanks, it's a little bit easier. Same thing down here for defense. NightCloNe, a few Marines, and a Viking, as opposed to the Marines and the tank defense that Aegis has chosen on his particular natural base. Alright, so both players are getting stim. It looks like Combat Shield is on the way for Aegis. NightCloNe is getting +1 attack for his bio units. We're going to see a lot of bio units in this game. I don't see anybody really going mech. Like that early Cyclone was good, but now it's time to go into a lot of barracks, a lot of starports, although that is a second factory. So maybe Aegis does have something different in mind here, which would be good. I do like to see a bit of variation in my cast, and TVT can be a little bit stale, in my opinion. Marine on the high ground, making sure a base doesn't land there, but I don't think he has any idea about that one. No, he does not. Doesn't know that's been landed. Aegis has his base landed now, does have a couple mules mining there as well. And yeah, both players just kind of hanging out. I mean, little skirmishes here and there. Cycling can go ahead and kill this Marine. Is that using lock-on? It seems like a waste of lock-on. That cooldown, I guess, is pretty fast, though, so not a huge deal. Maybe go Marine hunting at this point. That seems like a good idea. Heading on down this way. Are there any more Marines out here? Says the Cyclone. I would like to kill them very much. And yes, indeed he does, too. 3 shots. 3 shots, those Marines. Another one up here. Who's going to win the battle of Marine versus Marine? And Blue Marine wins with hit points totaling 3. Totaling 3. Infantry armor on the way for a NightCloNe level 1. 118 and 136 total supply, though. Aegis has a very nice advantage that way. Army value 2,600 versus 3,300. Whew, Aegis, big time army. And worker count is the same, so Aegis is doing a much better job macroing than I thought. I mean, I thought his third base was late, but he's been SCV pumping like crazy here. Going to saturate this one, possibly go for a 4th base sometime soon, and his army is just bigger. It's just bigger. He has big group down here. He has a tank right there, and then just a big old group right at the front. So the upgrades stand at 0-0 for Aegis, and that +1 has completed for NightCloNe, that +1 attack, which is going to be super useful if there are any engagements here in the near future. A Viking's still hanging out. I'm not sure that NightCloNe has any plans to drop. He does have a Widow Mine ready to go, but both players just really seem to be massing up. This is like a no-rush 20 game. I mean, NightCloNe did attempt to get up here with a drop, and he did get a drop inside the main, but didn't really do anything with it. Aegis was positioned well with tanks to prevent that from really killing him. And here we go. Aegis decided it's time to move out. Does he have those upgrades yet? He is not actually getting them. How is he not getting infantry upgrades? This is crazy. Maybe that's how his army is so big, is he doesn't have the upgrades. We'll see if that hurts him, or if that's something that will work out in this TVT. So here we go. Marines moving on up, trying to kill. Yep, getting some good value there. Both players scanning each other, just trying to check things out, see what is happening. Viking does come down from his spot patrolling up here. Man, I love these sensor towers too. Those are fantastic. There is one here for NightCloNe as well. But tanks are spotted. Tanks are ready to go. Widow Mine here too. Tank count is currently 6-10 in favor of Aegis. Picking up those there tanks. Going to try to use them for greater mobility. And NightCloNe's taking a 4th base as well as Aegis. I mean, taking them inside their 3rds, they are probably going to fly them over to the 4th, but it's essentially taking your 4th in my particular opinion. Okay, here goes nothing. Marine triggers on Widowmine. Yes, that's exactly what you want to see if you're Aegis. Stimming forward, scanning. Does anybody really want to commit here? No. Nobody wants to commit. Even the tiniest of bits right now. Aegis hanging out, just like, alright, so I thought about attacking, but there are a lot of tanks there. There's a lot of Marines. I did notice they have +1/+1, which is going to hurt quite a bit. And any engagement that we do, +1/+1 has now started for Aegis, but it just seems like it's a little bit late. Tanks on the high ground, perhaps? That seems like a good idea. Do you want to try it? Maybe. Maybe yes, maybe no. There they are, landing them right on that high ground and killing some SCVs, getting some shots off. Good reaction time from NightCloNe, lifting the command center, though. The Viking gets a volley off on the command center. 2 volleys. 3. Man, if you're not careful, this Viking is going to kill your command center. Why are you pushing up here so bad? I guess because you don't want to land there at all. This is why most players don't take their 4th base here. That high ground is just so hard to defend. It's really easy for opponents to come in and just kind of wreck you and mess you up in that situation. So here it is, tanks versus Marines. Tanks are going to win that one pretty handily most of the time. Medevac comes in for additional spotting. Because fun fact, tanks can shoot farther than they can see. If somebody can help spot for them a little bit farther out, like a medevac, they can shoot farther. But if they're alone, they kind of have that a smaller range, even in siege mode. So picking up, here we go. Marines taking out that Widowmine, trying to take out some medevacs. No, good reaction time from NightCloNe, getting him the heck on out of there. And here it is. Big time attack. Tank splash on everybody. He just decides to back on out, but he has a very, very nice containment procedure here. Containment situation. Continuing to bring reinforcements across the map. Tank fire on these Marines and going forward. No, the Marines don't want to go forward. They do not want to attack there whatsoever. Tanks on everything. NightCloNe going for it, man. Going for it with his Marines on the bottom side. A lot of medevac healing going on right now, but those tanks at the back are splashing and helping Blue win that battle for sure. Look at that line of dead Marines. That's another line of dead Marines, another dead tank. Some bad rallies here from NightCloNe. Not looking good. 178. Ooh, 181 to 153 total supply. Tank versus tank. It looks like Red started out with more hit points, and yes, does definitely win that battle. All these Marines just get evaporated. Oh, did they not see? Did they not see? This is a no walk area. 4th base up and running for NightCloNe. Definitely up and running for Aegis. And taking a 5th. If you have your opponent contained, by all means, expand. That is definitely a good idea. So the 184 to 162 total supply. Vikings trying to snipe down some of those medevacs. These tanks can't do much about it. Stimming on up, going to hop up this ramp and try to kill this base before it is a planetary fortress. Too late for that, though, as it is definitely going to finish. NightCloNe responding. Oh, the tanks are in position to hit it, though. Oh, you can't let him get there. You can't let Aegis get there and take out your 4th, and he does. And he does. The repairs are not enough. The damage from the tanks way too high, even though they have no upgrades. It's that extra damage versus armor that really benefits them in this situation. 188 to 157 total supply. 4 bases to 3 bases. NightCloNe pulling back just a little bit here. He is sieging up his tanks. Tank count is currently 14 to 12. Aegis has a bit of a lead there. Nothing really to write home about, though. 75 to 64 workers. Aegis has the lead. Is mining very heavily. Way, way, way more than his opponent, which you can see in the income tab there. That Blue definitely has the advantage, both in minerals and in gas. Here we go. Tanks. Ooh, that is an SCV massacre if I ever saw one. Marines pushing forward, trying to get rid of these tanks. Medevac, or Vikings trying to kill stuff, too. Bit of a skirmish there. I'm not quite sure who came out on top, but Aegis is now maxed out. And looking very pretty indeed. The Vikings really, really want to kill these medevacs. I just don't know. Does NightCloNe have his own Vikings here? He does have 2. He does have 2, which is nice. Marines taking him out as well. They just a little bit sloppy there. And landing inside the main base. Oh, that's not what you want to see as a Terran player, is this. Oh, all the production facilities are in a huge amount of trouble. There's a handful of Marines here to protect the tanks. They're hitting stuff on the low ground back there as well. And actually, NightCloNe does push through and get rid of this group. Of what's he going to do with his main? He's losing barracks. He's losing factories. Everything is absolutely on fire here. This tank has 10 kills. 10 kills to his name. That one has 10 too. Very effective tank play. 184 to 115 total supply. Not looking good at all for NightCloNe. Aegis pushing through, killing those there Vikings. The tank's trying to land, and they do land, but it takes a couple seconds for them to fire, and that's it. NightCloNe leaves the game. Aegis is victorious, and NightCloNe, well, yes, Aegis wins the game for the blue Terran. I was going to say the Terran wins, but then that didn't make any sense. So there you go. Pretty good TVT there. It did turn into some medevac Marine tank play, but some pretty good positioning there by both players. I mean, it wasn't, I'm not going to say it was like Polt level or anything like that. He's just a master of the TVT matchup. But, you know, GM, these guys know what they're doing. They know when to dart in with their Marines. They know when to pull back to the support of their tanks. They know to get stim. That +1/+1 has completed. For Aegis, he did get there a little bit late, but it was there when he needed it. So, well played by Aegis, well played by NightCloNe, but Aegis gets the win today. Well done, Miraculous Gaming. So that's it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter and Facebook, both at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.